Never let anybody tell you you can't do what you in your heart know you can.
Steven Spielberg isn't just a director. He is a producer and writer. He is considered one of the founding pioneers of the new Hollywood era and one of the most popular directors and producers in film history. He is also one of the co-founders of Amblin Entertainment, DreamWorks Pictures, and DreamWorks Animation. In a career of more than 5 decades in Hollywood, Spielberg's films have spanned many themes and genres. He won the Academy Award for Best Director for Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, as well as receiving 6 other nominations. 3 of Spielberg's films achieved box office records, originated, and came to epitomize the blockbuster film. The worldwide box office receipts of all Spielberg-directed films exceed $10 billion, making him the highest-grossing director in cinematic history.
And the scene that I love most is the scene where the guys compare scars.
I got something for you.
He's a storyteller who shaped the language of modern cinema. But he will tell you, movies are nothing without the people who bring them to life. The actors who embody the characters, carry the emotion, and make the magic real. So, if Steven Spielberg had to name his top actors of all time, the ones who impressed him the most, inspired him, the voice he trusted, the ones whose performance changed everything and defined cinema itself, who would make the list?
Okay, the nominees for director this year are Steven Spielberg for Schindler's List.
Today, we reveal 8 legends. Each one is unforgettable. Each one chosen by the greatest director of our time. When it comes to naming the best of the best to feature on our screens, so many actors would come to mind, such that it would be difficult to give a top 8. But not for Steven Spielberg, who showed no hesitation. He doesn't scream or demand. He just watches, then chooses. And once he makes that choice, he doesn't go back.
The Oscar goes to, this is a big surprise, Steven Spielberg for Schindler's List.
At number 8, we have Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, Daniel did he did something at first that really, for me anyway, I wanted to make the film right away, but after, trying to get Daniel into this movie for almost 9 years.
Day-Lewis, the man of transformation. To convince Day-Lewis to work with Spielberg was a whole lot of work. Spielberg chased him for almost a decade just to get him on screen. That was because Spielberg had a dream project. Spielberg wanted to shoot Lincoln in 2012, and he needed someone who could embody not just Abraham Lincoln's look, but his soul. He knew exactly who could do the job, and he went to get him. Day-Lewis wasn't disposed at the time. In fact, he had politely declined with a handwritten letter. Spielberg didn't want to let go, at least not yet. He pressed on. He brought Tony Kushner to rewrite the entire script to suit Day-Lewis. But again, Day-Lewis turned it down.
So by the time we got to Richmond, Virginia to start making Lincoln,
Spielberg decided to just accept defeat. He then offered the role to Liam Neeson for a while, but along the line, Neeson dropped out. Spielberg saw it as another opportunity to go back to Day-Lewis, but this time he went through Leonardo DiCaprio. And that was all it took to get Day-Lewis to star in the movie. DiCaprio played the matchmaker for one of the most incredible films in Hollywood history. Day-Lewis decided to take a look at the script, and something clicked. Daniel Day-Lewis disappeared into the role. His quiet voice, his posture, his mannerisms. It was as though Lincoln had come back to life.
So had Lincoln, embedded in his psyche, in his soul, in his mind.
Spielberg said directing Day-Lewis was like watching history unfold in real time. His performance won him the Academy Award for Best Actor, his 3rd.
The nominees for leading actor in a motion picture are
Daniel Day-Lewis, Lincoln.
Spielberg could still remember the first day of the movie, like it was yesterday. He said their very first shot was so powerful, such that he cried behind the monitor from watching Day-Lewis lie down close to the lifeless body of his on-screen son.
And the Oscar goes to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Few actors commit like Daniel Day-Lewis. And for Spielberg, he was the key to bringing one of America's greatest leaders back to the screen.
All during the picture I called him Mr. President, but that was my idea because I also wear a suit every day, which I don't usually do when I'm directing.
The last scene of the movie was Lincoln's deathbed scene. As soon as they called cut, Spielberg said Daniel hugged him, and he cried even harder, not because the shoot was over, but because it felt like saying goodbye to Lincoln himself. Spielberg knew he worked with someone incredible, one who transforms into the character, and that is why Day-Lewis is one of the actors Spielberg will never forget. Up next, at number 7, we have Harrison Ford.
Well, in the case of Indiana Jones, that was absolutely my fierce desire.
Harrison Ford is a man whose face is adventure itself. While some actors play the role in a movie, Steven becomes the reason for the role. He defined an era. When Spielberg teamed up with George Lucas to create Raiders of the Lost Ark, they needed an actor who could be tough, witty, and human all at once.
Steven has brought so much.
Harrison Ford was that man. As Indiana Jones, he gave the world one of cinema's most iconic heroes. Spielberg once said, "Harrison brings confidence into a room, and when the camera rolls, that confidence becomes a myth." On stage, Ford did not ask for special treatment. He didn't flinch at stunts. During The Last Crusade, he insisted on doing his own stunt, and when Spielberg insisted he didn't, he was adamant. "If I get hurt, attest it's real. It's worth it," Ford said.
That damn music follows me everywhere.
Spielberg often praised Ford's ability to balance charm with grit. He wasn't a superhero. He got hurt, got scared, got dirty, but he always got back up. He doesn't campaign for roles, he just shows up fully loaded. Spielberg once called him authenticity on demand, because he always shows up and he delivers.
And for the second collaboration on the sequel Temple of Doom, I owe Harrison a great personal debt.
Ford's collaboration with Spielberg didn't just create a franchise, it created a symbol, the modern action hero. They made 4 Indiana Jones movies together. If Spielberg ever sits down in the director's chair again, there's one man he would want, holding the whip, and that is Ford. That's because without Harrison Ford, adventure movies would never be the same. Moving on, we have Leonardo DiCaprio.
Obviously not Catch Me If You Can.
Geez.
E.T. for me. E.T.
Maybe Jaws, but I can't. He's done so many masterpieces.
Yes,
It's hard to pick, right?
Spielberg really loved working with DiCaprio. They crossed paths in 2002. This was just a few years after DiCaprio gave his incredible performance in Titanic. When they worked together on Catch Me If You Can, a movie based on a real-life story about a teenage artist named Frank Abagnale Jr., who pretended to be everything, from a pilot to a doctor before he even turned 19. Although the story sounds untrue, it did happen. So Spielberg needed someone who could sell both the charm and the lies.
I think the first thing that attracted me was that this young boy at 16 years old.
DiCaprio was still proving himself, but Spielberg saw more than just a young star. He saw a craftsman. He said what Frank did in real life was exactly what DiCaprio acted. He called them masters of social camouflage. People who could walk into any room and tell them they belong, and no one would argue. DiCaprio brought vulnerability and charm to Frank Abagnale Jr., a conman who made you root for him even as he lied and cheated. Spielberg was amazed by his ability to hold his own against Tom Hanks, one of the greatest of all time. DiCaprio played the role so effortlessly. DiCaprio dug deep into Frank's character. He read Frank's autobiography, listened to his tapes, and found some other things about Frank's history that the script did not highlight. All of these just to act the script perfectly. On one occasion, DiCaprio found a scene involving Frank and a call girl, but it wasn't in the movie originally. He begged Spielberg to add it to the movie, to give it more depth. Spielberg listened to him and added it to the movie.
It's synonymous with becoming an actor or movie star that people are going to be interested in your personal life.
Spielberg connects with his actors easily. He once said that DiCaprio's acting had intelligence, charm, and danger, just like Frank himself. Getting praise from Spielberg simply means you did exceptionally well.
There wasn't a specific note from him, but I do remember the things that he says no to.
Though they only worked together once, Spielberg has repeatedly praised DiCaprio's artistry and depth. In his eyes, Leonardo DiCaprio represents the next generation of timeless actors, a man who carries the same weight as legends like De Niro or Brando. The next actor should not come as a surprise. At number 5, we have Meryl Streep.
I just wasn't prepared for the openness of this director.
Meryl Streep, the woman many call the greatest living actress, the Oscar queen. Spielberg worked with her on The Post in 2017, where she played Katharine Graham, the Washington Post publisher who took on the Nixon administration. At first, when Spielberg asked her to act in the movie, she was terrified. She said stepping on the stage opposite Tom Hanks was scary. She said she felt unprepared and unqualified. The reason is that Spielberg does not rehearse for his movies. They just set the camera rolling, and they start shooting.
I like shooting fast, not just this film, but this film had a whole set of imperatives.
Tom Hanks, on the other hand, had worked with Spielberg 4 times already, so he came prepared, with his dress intact, his lines, and his gestures on point. So apparently, Meryl Streep had reasons to panic. She studied every detail of Katharine Graham, the quiet publisher of the Washington Post. In a world where men made the rules, she was the one tasked with the responsibility of approving the Pentagon Papers to be published.
What surprised me was how collaborative, free.
Meryl Streep embodied the role, the struggle, the quiet but fierce transformation. Spielberg was awed by her precision. Every gesture, every glance, every hesitation was intentional. Watching her felt so surreal. Streep's decades of experience have won her 3 Oscars, and she has received several more nominations than most people have.
Siren's victim. From the printed page to the screen, Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice.
In one scene, she was seated in a boardroom with so many people talking, doubting her, and expecting her to give in, but she sat there in silence. And when she spoke, she commanded the whole atmosphere. Spielberg was blown away by her ability to command the whole room. He was stunned.
Thank you, thank you. When they called my name, I had this.
He once said that directing her was almost unnecessary. She came prepared with layers he hadn't even imagined. The movie came together faster than he thought, and she delivered even without rehearsal or warm-up. He had to stop himself from complimenting her between takes so she wouldn't break the rhythm. That was how good she was.
It's like women have learned the language of men, have lived in the house of men all their lives.
For Spielberg, Meryl Streep represents the ultimate craft of acting, truth, vulnerability, and fearlessness. When she steps on screen, you believe every word. At number 4, we have Robin Williams.
It was just me calling him, well, it's a little difficult to say, how was your work at Dachau today, dear? You know, it's like...
Robin Williams is a man whose energy lit up every room. Spielberg cast him as Peter Pan in Hook, shot in 1999. But to Spielberg, Robin was more than an actor. He was a force of nature, a rescue line. Between takes, Robin would keep the entire crew laughing, improvising non-stop, turning a stressful set into a playground. Bloated budget, studio pressure, Spielberg usually felt lost in the chaos, and Robin took it upon himself to relieve Spielberg. Every night after shooting, Robin would call Spielberg, not to talk about the movie, but to make him laugh.
When Robin was playing Peter Banning, who's the guy with no imagination, uptight.
Yet beneath the humor, Robin could break your heart. Spielberg saw his depth, his sensitivity, his pain. He once said that Robin Williams reminded him that great acting isn't just about pretending, it's about giving pieces of your soul to the audience.
Psychologist. Hello, I'm going to just do a brief thing to you. And then all of a sudden he looked up.
Hook may not be Spielberg's most celebrated movie, but it definitely changed him. The weight of forgotten joy, of time slipping away.
If you stand up, I'm out of here, man. Started to move his finger.
After the movie Hook, they never worked together again, but their friendship went far beyond the set. After Robin's death, Spielberg admitted he couldn't stop crying. To him, Robin Williams wasn't just a collaborator, he was family, a lightning in the bottle, and when he left, the room was dimmed. On number 3, we have Richard Dreyfuss.
Ricky, the shark is... The boat is sinking. The boat is sinking.
Before Tom Hanks became Spielberg's cinematic soulmate, there was one actor who first understood Steven Spielberg's rhythm, Richard Dreyfuss. Their partnership was electric, built on trust, tension, and shared genius. In 1975, a young Spielberg was shooting Jaws. It was chaos. The mechanical shark wouldn't work, the budget was bleeding, and no one believed the movie would even make it to theaters. But amidst the madness, Richard Dreyfuss brought something magical. His energy was wrapped in brilliance.
After you figured that. And so on the boat was Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, myself.
As Matt Hooper, the sharp-tongued marine biologist, Dreyfuss gave the film its human feeling. Spielberg once said Dreyfuss had the perfect mix of arrogance and vulnerability. He wasn't the regular protagonist. He was real, unpredictable, alive. When Jaws became a global phenomenon, Spielberg and Dreyfuss didn't just celebrate success, they discovered a creative bond. And 2 years later, they reunited for Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
When I told Steven I was going to turn the film down, it was because I'd go to see this movie.
His portrayal of Roy Neary, a man obsessed with strange visions, became one of the most haunting performances of the 1970s. Spielberg called it the purest expression of human wonder ever captured on film. Dreyfuss wasn't playing a role, rather, he was embodying Spielberg's childlike awe of the unknown. But like many great partnerships, both were young, ambitious, and opinionated. After Close Encounters, they drifted apart. Their careers went in different directions.
Steven and I found out, as deeper we got into it, that he and I had exactly the same.
Still, Spielberg has never forgotten Dreyfuss. In interviews, he often names him as one of the first actors who truly brought his imagination to life. The one who taught him how emotion could anchor spectacle. And Dreyfuss, in return, has always spoken with warmth about Steven, saying, "He gave me the greatest gift. He made me believe that ordinary people could be extraordinary." Richard Dreyfuss wasn't just part of Spielberg's journey, he helped write its first chapters. At number 2, we have Tom Cruise. A superstar who proved his range under Spielberg's lens, Tom Cruise. They worked together on Minority Report in the year 2002 and War of the Worlds 2005. For Spielberg, Cruise wasn't just an action hero. He was a collaborator willing to dive deep into complex characters.
And I just thought it had great potential. You know, the social commentary is there, but I think what Steven Spielberg did.
In Minority Report, Cruise played a man running from a system he once upheld. He was conflicted, desperate, and human. In War of the Worlds, he wasn't a soldier, but a flawed father trying to save his kids. They reunited at the Oscar nominees' luncheon. Spielberg praised Cruise's Minority Report and War of the Worlds for saving the theatrical movie business with Top Gun: Maverick. Both Spielberg and Cruise were in the running for Best Picture the same year, thanks to The Fabelmans and Top Gun: Maverick, respectively. Spielberg praised Cruise's relentless energy and commitment. He wasn't afraid to look imperfect, and that, to Spielberg, is the mark of a great actor.
College, I read the book for the first time, and I thought the book was extraordinary. So I had always had War of the Worlds, and then a couple movies came out that kind of cherry-picked the best elements from War of the Worlds over the last 50 years.
Spielberg still holds Cruise in high esteem, and as long as Hollywood and Spielberg are concerned, Tom Cruise saved the day. The actor Spielberg considers the most outstanding, fabulous, and daring is none other than Tom Hanks.
Is this a film that you would invite all World War II veterans to see?
It's no secret that Spielberg's most trusted collaborator is Tom Hanks. Their partnership began with Saving Private Ryan, shot in 1988, where Hanks embodied Captain Miller with quiet dignity and heartbreak. Spielberg said Hanks carried the soul of the entire film. From the moment Hank stepped into the movie, Spielberg did not just see an actor, but a mirror.
Shoot the scene. I'm not sure how we're going to do it. What do we start? Okay, what do we start? Janusz. I got it, boss.
They worked together again on Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, and Bridge of Spies as producers. Spielberg once called Tom Hanks America's conscience. A man who could embody goodness, struggle, and hope all at once. Together, they've shaped modern cinema like few duos in history. Even after working on over 5 films together, the chemistry still didn't break. Hanks once said, "Once Steve calls, I don't ask questions, I just answer." For Spielberg, Tom Hanks isn't just an actor. He's a brother. For more than 25 years, Hanks has been Spielberg's go-to person for emotional wealth and life generally. Their friendship didn't need celebration, no media praise, nor awards, just pure love and trust.
Hey, get up! Go back. You okay? I'm the mayor.
A collaboration that began quietly, slowly turned into telepathy. For Steven Spielberg, these aren't just actors. They're storytellers, dreamers, souls who brought his visions to life and defined the very art of cinema.
Mr. Steven Spielberg.
And maybe that's the lesson. Even the greatest director of all time knows that film isn't just about cameras. Neither is it about budgets or box office. It's about people, the ones who make us laugh, cry, believe, and remember. And that's all that matters in the end. These are Steven Spielberg's top 8 actors.